Hello.
Hello, this is Leslie Walker-Hirsch, and today it's my pleasure to be speaking with James Meadours. You may have heard of James because he's just been named the Self Advocate of the Year and has also become the president of the Texas Self Advocates. He is also the recipient of the Courage Award from the Arc of Tulsa. Hi, James. How are you today?
I'm doing well today.
Great, great. So let's get started. I'm glad you could be here today. Can you tell the readers and the listeners of the Facts of Life Plus newsletter a little bit about self advocacy and why it's so important, not only for the advocates in Texas, but everywhere?
I think self advocacy is so important because we need to hear each other's voice, what you want for yourself, like a goal you want to set for yourself. Like for myself, for example, like in 1992, when I decided to make a choice from living from a 12-bed group home to my own apartment, that's self advocacy. And self advocacy is also little things you want. Maybe you want to buy something you really, really want, like an iPad or a trip you want to take for yourself. That's also self advocacy because it's having the power to speak your mind and tell what you want for yourself in your life.
Well, that certainly sums it right up because that's really what everybody wants to do, say what they want and then be able to achieve that. And you have. So, how did you first become involved with self advocates?
How I got into self advocacy is kind of accidental because at the time in 1988, I was living in a 12-bed group home in Oklahoma, and at the time, I was not able to change my voting card right away from the from my parents' house, from my dad and stepmother's house to the group home address. But when I went to the self advocacy meeting, I changed my voting card because I think voting was very important to me. And that self advocacy group helped me to realize I have a lot of potential of other things I want to do for myself. They were talking about hopes and dreams and aspirations for myself.
Well, I hope you have a voting card and that you voted because this is an important election.
Yes, it is because each voice is so important. No matter how big or how small, your voice does count.
You know, that's very nicely put. So, tell me, what is your dream for all people who have an intellectual or a developmental disability?
My dream is that helping people with disabilities to really believe in themselves and take the courage of what they want to reach in life. Like for myself, back like I said earlier, that I want to live my own apartment. But now as a person who is 52 years old, I have different goals and dreams for myself and others. I want to see others like myself to stand up what they want in their dreams and hopes. Because if I could reach my goals and dreams, they could also reach their goals and dreams also.
So, you're motivating everyone to learn to speak up for themselves.
Yes.
So, James, what message would you like to give to other self advocates and their families and their parents about preventing sexual abuse?
I think it's several things. First, we need to talk of what it is, what sexual assault really is, not sugarcoat it. As a person who is a survivor of sexual assault, because one example, I learned something long time ago in my first assault. I did not know what rape was until I saw a movie back in the 1980s, in the mid 80s. This is young Sean Penn movie, and a movie called Bad Boys. And Ali Sheedy was his girlfriend, and his Ali Sheedy's boyfriend Sean Penn was in a gang, but his rival gang member was following his girlfriend, and his girlfriend got assaulted by his rival gang members. And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's rape!"
Whoa.
And that really a wake up call. But at the same time, I wish I got the power and skills to tell my mom, my real mom. Her name was Ruth Ann and my dad Thomas James Meadours, but I was afraid. But really talk about what rape really is, and also not to them feel guilty about what happened to them, because it's not your fault at all. Because one of the movies I use often is called Good Will Hunting, when Robin Williams and Matt Dillon was talking, and when Robin Williams say it's not your fault, of course Matt Dillon say, I know it's not my fault, it's okay, I'm alright. But at the end of the scene, that Matt Dillon's character finally broke down and cried and let his emotional float into him to how he felt about that situation, because as a survivor.
You know, being a survivor is important, and things that help you. You know, a lot of people think that it's only women who get sexually abused, but sexual abuse and rape happens to men too, and boys and girls as well.
Yes, it's very much so,
So,
because we should not isolate them.
exactly. So, what would you like to tell the parents of kids? And if you could speak to your own parents, what would you like to tell them? What would you like them to know about you and how you are today?
If I would tell my mother today, I'm happy. I never thought I would dream do the things I'm doing today, because one of the things I was a big fan as a small child, because I was a big Star Trek fan. It's not like the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine or Star Trek The Enterprise, but the original series back in the 1973 74 time, that I was a big Star Trek fan. And I told my mom I want to be an astronaut. I want to travel the stars and see the different planets. And it's kind of funny because the places I've been going throughout my self advocacy career have been places I never dreamed to go, like Washington, D.C., or like overseas, like in Europe, like France and England. But I feel like I travel inner space instead of outer space, but still, I never dreamed that I reached the goals I accomplished.
So, James, if somebody who's watching and listening wants to know more about self advocacy or hear more about your story, how would they go about that?
One way you could find out about it, I will share my email address. It's JETSTTR31 at AOL.com, because this is the best way you could get a hold of me. And just to say, if you I heard you in the interview or read my story, then I know who you are, and that'd be really, really great.
Great. Now, I have to ask one more thing that we never really discussed. I know you're raising some funds for the self advocates in Texas. So, if somebody wanted to contribute to that fundraiser that you're running, how would they do that?
Sure. I want it's the fundraiser is over, but if you want to continue to support it, is if you Google Texas Advocates, and it's in Austin, Texas, and I don't have the address top of my head. I need to search the web. But if you Google Texas Advocates, it's the state of Texas, TEXAXAS. Advocates is ADVACATES. If you Google Texas Advocates, they will share you the address where you can mail the check to.
Okay, that's great. So, listen, James, thank you so much for spending some of your afternoon with me and with the readers and listeners today. Um, it was lovely to get to know you.
I feel the same way. I hope you guys to learn something, and also to be inspired to help your family member to grow what they could be the best person they could be in life.
Thank you, James. I know you are.
Thanks.
Bye bye
Bye.
now.